So here we go. So what happened in the apartment is the neighbors started using the same speakers which they used in Munich to induce voices in my head. Of course, just for the people listening, of course this sounds like bullshit, right? Sounds like bullshit. Just imagine the other way around. Like, imagine the 90s and the police is in a car sitting outside and listening into your apartment or house or whatever. Right? What fucking nonsense. Of course, this doesn't happen, right? This is impossible, right? Right? Like in the 90s, a police car sitting in front of a house listening inside with a satellite dish in the police officer's hand, hearing what you are saying. Fucking impossible. Come on, people. You can't hear fucking voices in your head, right? Yeah, right. So, the tactics they used in Berlin were different. It involved brainwashing indoctrination. What I mean by that is, if your neighbor said the word, I don't know, asshole, you wouldn't identify yourself with the word asshole. If he said asshole, you maybe listen to what the fuck he is going to say or what the fuck is going on, but you won't identify yourself with as an asshole, right? So what they did to me was they made it really clear I was the guy they call lunatic, or just simply crazy is the same word in German, verrückt. And a word used a lot is son of a bitch, retard, and there were a couple of other words they used, but these ones stuck. So those three are the keywords used in my case. So I'm a retard, I'm son of a bitch, and I'm crazy, a lunatic. So, and even now, the program they are doing, I'm just gonna take my mobile phone. I'm recording with both the camera and the mobile phone. So let's listen to my fucking PC, what he has to say. Sounds like verrückt, verrückt, verrückt. Behindert, verrückt. Of course, I have thousands of other recordings I can inject right here. So, let's keep talking. So, they needed to make it clear I'm the guy they were talking about. And it wasn't really hard due to the fact, due to the tactics they used. There were two guys above me. Like there's this Turkish father and his 10 or 12-year-old son who were living above me, and they changed apartments during that time. So in the beginning it was somebody else, then they moved in, and that's where it started. So during that time I overheard in the lift that they have, how should I say, they have a guest, a visitor, right? And this guy was the main perpetrator of all of this shit what was going on there. So what they were doing is, for instance, I go to the toilet, the kid runs after me, yells to him, son of a bitch is in the toilet. So I identify myself as son of a bitch. Then a lot of calls were made, like it's about crazy, or it's about lunatic, however you choose. It's about verrückt, I could say, the German word, right? It's about verrückt, and then he starts talking something I cannot hear. I can only hear the beginning, because later on he gets quiet. So I get to induce paranoia. So I would think, what the hell is going on? What is he talking about me? And that's exactly what was going on. I was getting very paranoid because I was never surveillanced in my life. So, of course, it's kind of shocking to, how should I say, to experience all of it. Now, other things they did is they did very sexual things. The neighbors right next to me, they were always he did there. It was a single apartment, one single guy living there, but he got a girlfriend or whatever, just a whore or whatever she was, and started fucking with her. And while fucking, they always said, "Son of a bitch, crazy, crazy, son of a bitch," and never stopped. It never stops. And that's the crazy thing, because it wasn't real. I hope you understand. It was recorded. I don't know if it was repeating. I couldn't pinpoint a section of the repeated sex they are having where I could say, oh, I hear that already, because it is always muffled, and it gets louder, it gets quieter. They are trying to annoy you. They are constantly doing different stuff. So it never stops. They never stop calling you like retard or verrückt. It goes literally verrückt, verrückt, Hurensohn, verrückt, 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 Hurensohn, werd verrückt, Hurensohn. So on and so forth. It never stops. Never. Even when I went to sleep in the evening, they drop an adapter or something heavy on the floor and wake me up, and then they wait. And then they say, Hurensohn, 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 Hurensohn. And it gets louder and louder, of course, until I start recording. I started also recording all the time. And when I start recording, like magic, it stops. So in the beginning, I had a really, really, really hard time to record anything what was going on. The same things happened in Berlin itself. So I go outside, I go take a walk in my neighborhood where I lived. Go take a walk, and there are people from another apartment building screaming, son of a bitch, which is Hurensohn, like I said before. And I, of course, immediately take my mobile phone out. Oh, there, it stopped. So they do it only for like half a minute or less, even less, and stop. So, of course, you get really pissed off during that time, because you are getting harassed, you are getting fucked with, and these people are fucking cowards. What fucking cowards? No fucking one of them would say it in your face. No fucking one of them. They're just fucking cowards. They didn't even run away. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, talking about cowards. If you're gonna talk about cowards, talk about Germans and Gangstalkers. And Croatians aren't any better. Like, I don't know how I will inject all of the footage inside of this recording, but of course we'll do it. And the funny thing is, let me tell you, when I called the police for the first time. So I'm gonna make another cigarette. I'm drinking. I'm having a party. This is my party. Let's say. All right. So the first time I called the police, it was connected again to the little boy and the guest above me. So let me just roll the cigarette. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, the police, the first call. So, what happened? They, like I said, they kept me awake. They were fucking with me non-stop. So, what I did is, like every apartment has this little floor where you can hang your jackets and stuff, right? Put your shoes. So I just took my pillow and stuff and went there because I knew they would wake me up again in the evening, like hit the floor with something or whatever they did. Like I said, throw an adapter on the floor to wake me up. And I went into the floor of my apartment and lied down. And the little boy, after a while, the little boy came running into the floor and was just there. So the rich guy, which they were talking in the lift, which is what I overheard, that the guy living above me, who was the guest, was rich. The Turkish father wasn't present. He was rarely present. Only when I went upstairs to complain, then you can hear, like while I wait for the lift, you can hear how they open the doors. A couple of doors open, people walk around, doors close again, and then I go upstairs and complain, and there's the Turkish father who rented the apartment. So, yeah, the little boy. So the little boy is in the floor, right? So right above me. The rich guy comes along, lays down alongside him, and asks him what he is doing. The little boy is saying, "Oh, I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to help him," which is just brainwashing bullshit. Don't think about it. And so he starts touching the little boy. And the little boy is like, don't. He wasn't like really screaming or panicking or whatever, but he was annoyed. So nothing else happened. There wasn't any rape or anything. But what happened all the time is the neighbors having sex and screaming, verrückt, Hurensohn, son of a bitch, crazy, lunatic, whatever, right? So the keywords they used for me, like retard, repeating it all the time while fucking. So the same thing was going on upstairs. So there was this other neighbor, which those people I only met them a couple of times in the lift. As you can imagine, if you live somewhere, you work somewhere, you are new in the region, you don't really know the people just a couple of times. So I knew this woman was just how do you say that? She was alone and had 2 kids. I don't know what the right word is. It doesn't matter, right? A lonely mother. I don't know the right word. Sorry. So yeah, she went to him all the time. Also, only like during a specific time. Like they build everything they do. They build it up. What the guy also did is he told the kid to go outside and play. Now, playing for the kid meant running up and down the stairs. I don't know how often it happened, but I believe there was a couple of times where they had sex with each other. Same bullshit like verrückt, 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 and fucking and so on and so forth. Using the keywords, right? While the boy is running up and down, and then he's still. You can't hear him again, and after a while he comes back into the room. Now, not only that happened, because sometimes the kid was present. There comes the woman, the neighbor from above, comes into his apartment, and they have sex. She goes, leaves, and then later on the kid, without the doors opening or closing, is still in the room. Now, like I said, I was, how should I say, I went already upstairs to complain. So I know the layout is absolutely the same as mine. And it was a one-room apartment. So even the bedroom, if you can call it that, was a part of the living area. It was just sectioned with the kitchen, but it was open, like an open, no wall, right? So I did wonder what the fuck is going on, because the boy was was in the room with them upstairs, right? And so this was all happening over weeks. This isn't just in the beginning when the guy moved in. He was like for 2 weeks they were just drilling holes. Like first I thought, all right, that he's like he moved in, but he did it for hours. He just drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled for hours and hours to no end. Then the other neighbors started drilling right next to me. Both neighbors start drilling and drilling and drilling with the guys upstairs. He's drilling, and the guy from below starts drilling into the ceiling, and he uses the so-called hammer function, which makes, how should I explain it? The drill is moving up and down to like, I don't know how to explain, but it's used to go into really hard walls. So this was just in the beginning. Like I said, it's a campaign. Let's say it like that. It's a program. They don't. This wasn't an experiment on me. They figured this shit out, and they have their own program how it works. So just like I said, to keep talking about the little boy. So one time while the rich guy had sex with the neighbor, with the woman, the boy starts asking him like what they were doing in that sense. He was still in the room, which, like I said, didn't happen just one time. And he, on the other hand, told him, "Oh, I'm going to show you," so on and so forth. So how do you say that word? I don't know how do you say. They had sex, of course, but the boy didn't like scream. He wasn't loud. You could barely hear anything. Like you couldn't hear any smacking. You couldn't hear. I believe I just heard like heart breathing. It's however you say. I don't know the right word for it. So that's the only thing which happened. Now, important to mention is, when this happened, I was like, what the fuck, right? But immediately after he had sex with the boy, the woman came back. She was already there, like I told you. They had sex, she left, boy asked him, they have sex, woman comes back. No complaints from nobody. Like, the boy isn't saying anything, he wasn't crying, he wasn't screaming, nothing was going on. And they were talking for a couple of minutes, and then she leaves again. But remember, this is a program. So the next day, the rich guy had another one of his calls. And this time he said, so how are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? To set it up? How are we going to set it up? Now, I don't know if he used my name, but I believe at this point he didn't use my name. He just asked how they are going to set it up. So that's, of course, where I panicked. Because what was going through my head is, of course, they're going to set me up like I raped the boy. So, of course, I panicked and called the police. I told the police everything, like the harassment they are doing, that I think the boy got raped. Police goes upstairs, comes back down later, everything is alright. We can't do anything, there's no complaints, so to speak. And helping me, of course, not important, who the fuck am I, right? I called the police a couple of times, this was still going on. So I called the police a couple of times, and one police officer even told me, you should move. That's his answer to harassment. Yeah, you should move. Why don't you move? Move to another apartment. Yeah, right.